Hi everyone, I'm Lori with Behavior Education at Spirit Keeper Animal Sanctuary. Welcome to Training Tuesday for November 8th, 2022. I trained and fed 44 snakes today, and I chose just a few sessions to share with you during this week's Training Tuesday. Remember, there are several reasons why I target train the snakes. The first and foremost reason is that I enjoy training animals. I enjoy seeing how much I can teach the animals to do. Now tonight, because I fed so many, I just kept the training sessions very, very simple. So even if I'm working with a lot of snakes at once and I'm not dedicating a very long extended training period just to one snake, I still target train because I always want that target to remain a salient cue that they have an opportunity to earn reinforcement. That target training skill has come in handy in some real circumstances where snakes have gotten out, where they've gotten into areas that could be dangerous, and I have literally used the target as a recall signal to get them out of spaces where I could not have otherwise gotten to them, and they have come out to the target. So there are lots of reasons why we target train. An emergency recall is just one of them. But first and foremost, I have fun doing it. Anytime you can teach any animal to move to a target, it makes lots of things easier because it's a communication tool now. So anywhere I move the target, the animal also moves their body, whether that's a dog or a horse or a bird or a snake. And that is useful for just so many things. And it's a core cooperative care behavior. So enjoy these sessions. And until next time, please remember to always be kind and love your animals. This is Betty, a 23-year-old Python Regis relinquished to our animal sanctuary for not eating, and she had only ever eaten live her whole life. As you can see, she's coming along with her target training, and she's eating frozen thawed from tongs just fine now. This is Laya. She is a Morelia Bredli. She has always done very well with target training. I kept her session simple because I was pressed for time, but I still had her do a significant change of direction before she earned her reinforcement. This is Mesmer, and if you followed the channel for any length of time, you know that he is our most fearful, shy, and reactive snake. So this was a huge night for him. He was already out and waiting at his door when he saw me training other snakes. I left the doors open for a few seconds while I prepared things, and he's actually moving towards the opening. It's really amazing for this individual snake. And he actually comes out even further when I present the target. He has come a long way since he first arrived here. Of course, he's not anywhere close to doing many of the behaviors that our other snakes are doing, like completely shifting out and stationing and positioning on scales. But for this individual who has been so traditionally shy and fearful and reactive, this was huge. And I'm very, very proud of Mesmer. Our next learner is another Morelia Bredli. His name is Gaharis. He isn't the most confident about coming out of his enclosure. He's one of the few that's actually very content to usually just stay in his enclosure. But he's very good at targeting out of hiding if I want to check on him, or targeting off of his perch and targeting right outside of the door. So that's all we were practicing tonight. He never has any problems targeting at least out the door, and he has targeted completely out of his enclosure a few times. This is Tausetti. His session tonight is the only one that I actually sped up 2 times normal speed because he is so slow. Now he shifts out of his enclosure. I put this folding chair there because there was a large space between his enclosure and the bench that I wanted him to move over onto. So just in case he didn't feel comfortable with that space, I put a chair there. He ended up using the chair. He just took such a long time that I sped up the footage. So I'm just warning you, of all the sessions tonight, this one is in double time. This was actually a fairly easy target training session for TC, and he comes out on his own anyway. I did not have to target him out. He was already at his door. Had I just opened the doors and walked away, he would have come out on his own like he does almost every night. But I wanted to go ahead and do a practice session with him. This is one of our adult Python Regis. Her name is Soji, and she's one of our Python Regis that has eaten everything that I've offered her. She eats rats, mice, quail, chicks, and she ate a reptilink one time. And she's taken to the target training very well. She'll target out of her enclosure. She'll target out of her hide. That's her favorite hide, that sky hide there. And I would have to say, of all the foods that I feed her, the one she gets most excited about is the quail. I was keeping things simple tonight, like I already said, so I didn't ask her to come all the way out. Most of the sessions you're seeing tonight are solely just for practice. This is one of my best learners. Her name is Sundust. You've seen her shift in and out lots of times. She's actually one of my snakes that pretty much 100% of the time does a 100% shifting behavior all the way out into her shift tub and all the way back into her enclosure. Tonight I just had her shift into the shift tub, and I gave her a really big food item, so I didn't have her shift back. This is one of my coastal carpet pythons, 005. He was at the wrong end of the enclosure, so I had to show him the target outside the glass first so that he could see what was happening, and then he changed direction 180 degrees. He came over to the correct side of the enclosure. He has some slight problems here with inhibitory control. Yeah, impulse control can be a problem for some of the coastal carpet pythons, and it's absolutely an issue for 7 out of my 8 Papuan or West Papuan carpet pythons. He eventually gets himself under control, pauses at the target, and gets reinforced for that. He's about 50-50 whether he strikes at the target or not when we're training. This is Arium, and she's also a coastal carpet python, but you can see that she's much more careful and thoughtful and has more focus, absolutely has more impulse control than the other coastal you just saw. She 100% does the behavior that I asked her to do, moved to the target, paused when I changed the position of the target, and then she took her reinforcement without any issues whatsoever. This is another one of my Morelia Bredli. Her name is Andromeda. She's half of a set of twins that I have here, the other one being Triangula. And she's a consistent learner as well. She targeted out of her little log there, which is sitting on top of her humid hide, and I just wanted her to move to the other end of her enclosure. She has no problem doing that. When I feel like she's gone far enough, I change the orientation of the target from vertical to horizontal to cue the end of the behavior or mark the end of the behavior, and then I deliver her reinforcement. She's very consistent. Most of my Bredl's pythons are very consistent learners. This is another one of my adult Morelia Bredli. He's an ex-breeder. He took a while to adapt to life here, but as you can see, he is coming right along with his target training, and he is taking frozen thawed rodents off tongs no problem. His name is Fulcrum.